Hi everyone, Kelly here, and I want to talk about the books that I want to read in September, and all of these are books from series. And yes, I might throw in some other books as I'm mood reading, but I just have realized we're at the 9th month of the year, and I just have not been finishing series this year. I have not been starting some of the series I really wanted to, and there is a readathon called Series September run by Krista from Books and Jams and Sarah's Nightstand. And I'm just taking that opportunity to just put a bunch of books and series on my TBR. And hopefully by the end of September, I will have finished some series, continued, and then started some ones that I've really been wanting to start. So I actually have lots because what I did was I took each prompt on their board. I'll show you the board. And could just make a couple bingos. That would be fine. But I decided to black out the board twice. So I picked a continuing series for each prompt and a new series for each prompt. I'm not going to be reading 18 books, I'm sure, in September, but I like to have a pile of possibilities. So I'll have a pile of continuing series, some of which will finish the series, and then a pile of new series I want to start. And then I can pick back and forth. My goal would be to be okay, I will do a continue and then I'll start one and kind of go back and forth and see if I can evenly finish some at the end, hopefully actually get some bingos, whatever. So I'm not too worried about the bingos. I just really want to finish some of these, and this helped me kind of organize based on the prompts. So the top prompt on there was, and these are all based on covers. So basically every single prompt, they said, is based off of the cover, not necessarily the content of the book. So the first spot is Moody and Dark, so a cover that's moody and dark. My continuing series, which would finish a series, is Mastiff by Tamara Pierce. And this is the last book in the Becca Cooper trilogy. And I have been listening to these on audiobooks, so that's probably what I'll do this time because it's a pretty big book and I'll probably just throw it in an audio. I really enjoy the narrator for this one and I've liked following this series. I read the other two. I think I read both of them this year. So this would be a series I started this year and finished this year. I'm pretty sure. I feel like 2024 and 2025 have blended together for me. So it's possible I started it in 2024 and I'm just mixing up my years. But yeah, it would be nice to finish this one off. And then a moody dark one that I want to start is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I've been wanting to try out some romantasy, just dip my toe in that kind of genre, and this one was a recommendation that I bought this year back in May for my birthday, and so I would like to at least try a romantasy book. So that's one that I could start. The next prompt is an illustrated cover. So many of these are illustrated covers, so a lot of things can fit this prompt. But the series I want to continue is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. This is book 2 in the series. I read book 1 this year, and I had put this when I did my mid-year book freakout tag. I put this as one of the ones I want to read before the end of the year because I really do want to continue that series because I really enjoyed it and it's just a cute cover. So yeah, that's the one I want to continue. The one I want to start is Bloodleaf by Crystal Smith, and this is actually on my 25 books to read in 2025. So I definitely want this to happen this month. And this is the beginning of a series that I think is supposed to be based on The Goose Girl. So we'll see if I get to that one. Hopefully, because since it is on my 25 books to read this year, I want to prioritize that one. The next spot is Fall Colors on the cover. And the series I want to continue is Hearts That Cut. This would also finish the series, and because it's just a duology. And I did just reread the last 5 chapters in the book before this because I hadn't read it that long ago. I think it was towards the end of 2024 that I had read it, though time makes no sense, so maybe not. But I had read it within the last year, and I still just wasn't quite sure I remembered what happened at the end of the book. So just last week, I read the last 5 chapters of the first book, so I am ready for this one. I am excited. I think that's really good. If you ever forget, just kind of read a little bit at the end, and then hopefully you'll get excited for the next one. So now I might pick this up next. So this is a fantasy duology that's based off of Greek mythology. And then continuing in the Greek theme for this prompt, a series I would like to start is Ithaca by Claire North. And this is based on the Odyssey, but from his wife Penelope's point of view. And I'm going to be studying Greek history, ancient Greece pretty soon. if you haven't watched some of my other videos lately, I'm doing kind of like a history study for myself, just for my own edification and fun. And Greece is my next area I'm going to be doing, and so I thought I would put some fiction in there. All right, the next row on the bingo board, the first one is Blue Tones on the cover, and a series that I could finish is The Beauty of Darkness by Mary E. Pearson. This is the last in the Remnant Chronicles, and it's been a few years since I've read the second book, but I feel like I could go into this without rereading the other two books. And I just have been putting this off because it is kind of bigger. It's like 600 some pages, but I would really like to just finish off this series before I need to reread the second one, because the second one is also pretty big from what I remember. Of course, I can't find it now behind me, but I feel like the second one is also a bigger book. Oh yeah, no, they're like right there. The first book I had already read twice, so I know I don't need to reread that one. And I read the other one a few years ago before we moved here, so it would have been at least 3 years ago. So finish the series. Would love to do that. And that one I might also just get on audiobook and just, since it's so big, just listen to the audiobook, finish it off. To start, I would like to start Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This is also a Goose Girl retelling. I am trying to read some of those. I just read one, and I would like to do some more Goose Girl retellings. And this one was also on my 25 books to read in 2025 and my large books TBR for this year. So if I can get to this it checks off like more than just the bingo board. It checks off 2 things that I wanted to do in 2025. So that one's on my list. The next prompt is bold type on the cover. And I actually have 2 for my like continuing series because I couldn't find a place to put this one, A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kimmer, on my board other than the bold type. But then I also had another book I have to read. So I just put them both for the bold type. Yeah, so now that's even more books. That's technically 19 books on my TBR. This would also end a series, and I have reread A Curse So Dark and Lonely a couple years ago. I read book 2 last year, and I just need to finish this series. Like, I've had it for a long time, and I would just like to finish it. And that is like, it starts off as a Beauty and the Beast retelling fantasy series. Need to finish it off. And then another one that ends a series. I'm happy that if I read some of these ones that are like continuing series, I'm going to finish a lot of series. This one is definitely happening, A Sky Beyond the Storm by Salva Tahir, because I'm doing a read along of this series. I've been reading one book each month for the last few months. We're finishing off the series in September. So this one is like definitely going to happen. If nothing else happens, this one will happen. And this will finish off that series. So that'll be exciting. This one is kind of like a Rome-based fantasy series that it says to be young adult, but it is pretty intense. A lot of like graphic things happening. And then the one that I would start is Akata Witch by Nadia Okorafor. I don't know if this fully fits the bold type prompt, but I really want to read this book and I wanted to fit it in somewhere. And the book I originally had put in this place, I actually just tried a chapter of it yesterday and I kind of already hated the main character. So I was like, let's not get in a reading slump right at the beginning of September. So I decided to switch it out for this one that I have had on my TBR for a long time and really want to get to. I think it's close enough to being a bold prompt or bold print on the front. And then the next one in this row is Light Academia Vibes. And that one I just like have a trouble of like, what does that mean for a cover? And so I picked for my continuing Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I think it's the purple maybe just gives it kind of academic vibes to me, even though I know this is not taking place in a school, but it's about the cover, not about the content really. And this would finish a series because I've read the other prequel. This is the only book in the Hunger Games series I haven't read. And I just bought it, like was super excited when it came out. So I would like to read this. I really actually do want to reread book 2 of the original series before this, but I didn't put it on my TBR. So that would be adding another book to my TBR. But technically I feel like I could read the second book of the Hunger Games really quickly, like in one day, just because I'm so familiar with the story. So I might just like, throw it on my phone one day and, as an ebook and read it really quick before I read this one. Just because people say that's the one to reread before this one because Haymitch's games show up in, the second book. They talk about it a little bit, so gives it a little more context. And the series that I would want to start for this is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And this was like really popular a few years ago, and I wasn't like interested in it, but then I went to like Barnes and Noble, and somebody was like, had picked this up, like one of the people that worked there was like, have you read this series? It's really fun and a good time. And I was in a mood that day to just read a fun book and to just pick up a fun book. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna give this series a try. It's been a while since like I've heard people talk about it, but if it's just gonna be, I don't expect it to be like amazing, but if it's gonna be like kind of a candy read, I think I could use one of those in September, with a lot of these being kind of some heavier fantasy, like maybe a more mystery type of, you know, rich people doing bad things kind of candy read might work out. So I'm putting it on my TBR. Okay, and then the last row, the first one is Forest or Nature on the cover. And for a series I would finish is Crooked Kingdom. It's got a bird on the cover, that's nature, right? I'm loosely figuring out these prompts. But this was another one that in the mid-year book freakout tag, I was like, I would really like to continue this series because I loved I loved Six of Crows the last few months ago when I read it. And so I'd love to just finish off that duology and get it done. So I have a lot of big books on this. I don't know why I keep picking up big books. You know, I'll probably continue to read some of these after September because these are series that I do want to finish in 2025. I think it would be great that some of these that are finishing to get them done. So this might like just be a full-on fall TBR. And then the series I would like to start is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. And this one I really want to have happen because I have a friend a group of friends that wants to read the second one together in October. So if I can read this in September, then I could buddy read the second book with them. And this is kind of like a fantasy mystery. And I've heard really good things, like a murder mystery, almost like Sherlock Holmes type characters. And so I am really interested in starting that series. The next prompt is a beautiful cover. Wait, I put these in the wrong order. This is the beautiful cover one. For the continuing series that would finish a series is The Realms of the Gods by Tamora Pierce. I guess I have two by her. This would finish the Immortals Quartet, and I just love the dragon on this cover. And this is like kind of middle grade or young YA fantasy, and I've been reading this series for years, so I would like to finish it up. And then the new one is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli, and this is like a girl who's a witch, and then the love interest is a witch hunter, so it's kind of like high stakes, romantic-y type thing, young adult romance fantasy. And the last prompt is Cozy Vibes Only. And for this, the series that I would like to finish is First Frost by Sarah Addison Allen. I think this is one of the only non-fantasy ones in this pile. And this is like a contemporary family, but they are like some witch vibes, which is why it's great for fall because they have some magical powers, the women in this family. And yeah, I would just like to finish up this duology in the fall because it does feel like a fall book. First Frost meaning this fall time. And then the last one, the last series I would like to start is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. My mom just bought me the second book in this series, so I'm like, I should probably start this. And if I'm just looking for something cozy, this is cozy fantasy with some romance in it. And if I just want something like that, light and fluffy, then I think I would like to pick this one up. So that's it. That's like, what did it turn out by the time I added to those other ones I was talking about? It's like 20 books. Not gonna happen, but like if I can get half of these read in September, that'd be great. Sorry if you're hearing, my kiddos just came in from playing outside, so if you hear them, it's fine. But yeah, are you participating in Series September? Are there series that you want to finish this year before moving on? I would love it if I can finish most of these ones that are continuations, prioritize those over starting new, but there's some that I just also, part of the reason I don't finish series is because then I'm like, oh, but this new one I really want to read. So it's kind of going back and forth, trying to figure out how to balance all that. So that's it for me, and I will see you next time. Bye.